A former child placement agency is in hot water over its paying of both foster families and employees. Former workers claim they're owed thousands of dollars.
For weeks, our KSAT Investigates team looked into Lone Star Social Services and was met with pushback every step of the way.
Letting the people of this town see you.
That's okay. They should know who this person is.
And if you're recording me, you have no permission.
We don't need permission, ma'am. We're on public property.
Our investigation found a troubling pattern of financial irregularities and repeated failures and how they cared for children. Lee Waldman reports.
And it was very upsetting to see that world be shattered, to see somebody take advantage of people like this.
It is like a slap in the face or a punch in the gut. It's just not fair.
Both of these former employees agreed to share their stories about Lone Star Social Services on the condition of anonymity. According to Texas Health and Human Services, the child placement agency received its license in 2014. She worked as a caseworker.
I still feel that drive to help families and especially with children.
And he was a director for Lone Star.
It's meaningful for me because I was a foster child as well.
Both found new jobs after Lone Star announced plans to close its doors by the end of May. Owners Jason Fulton and James Mercer, seen here in this widely distributed newsletter touting the success of Lone Star Social Services in January, sent this letter to their employees just 4 months later on April 25th. It says in part, Lone Star Social Services LLC is terminating its contract with the Department of Family and Protective Services to provide foster care services, unquote. But that's not exactly how it happened. 5 days earlier, DFPS sent Mercer, Lone Star CEO, this letter ending its contract. The DFPS letter cites several reasons for terminating Lone Star's contract, including financial irregularities.
There were a few families that didn't get paid.
Meanwhile, Texas HHS issued an intent to revoke Lone Star's license in June, citing falsification, single serious deficiencies, endangering situations, and failure to correct deficiencies. Per HHS, Lone Star Social Services relinquished their license on June 15, 2023. The former caseworker says issues in paying foster families extended as far back as November of last year. By February, she says several employees' checks were late, including her own. Eventually, they stopped being paid altogether.
When was the last time you were paid from Lone Star Social Services?
In April 20th.
How much money do they owe you at this point?
It would be over $6,000.
I did a calculation. I am owed about $10,500. It's very upsetting to have, eviction notices or, late payments. I had my light shut off for one day because I couldn't find the money to pay.
According to the Texas Workforce Commission, 47 unpaid wage claims have been filed against Lone Star Social Services in the last 6 months, totaling $206,002. This audio from Lone Star's last staff meeting on May 19th was shared with KSAT Investigates.
Y'all are going to get your paychecks. I want y'all to know that.
Several former employees who attended this meeting say the woman speaking is Tiffany Verrett, the state director for Lone Star.
That is the utmost importance to me currently, is making sure that staff receives their paychecks. I just am afraid it may be a couple of days late.
3 months later, that money still has not come. Verrett had no official comment to share about the unpaid wages. According to emails shared with us from this spring, Executive Director Fulton wrote to his employees that they're working on a solution to get payroll sent out. He blamed the delay on DFPS, saying they rely on administrative fees to pay payroll and other costs. But yet again, that doesn't line up with the narrative from DFPS. Its representative sent an email explaining per Lone Star's contract, the child placement agency was required to maintain 3 months of operating fees, and those fees could be used to pay employees. The duty to pay them is the sole responsibility of Lone Star as the employer.
If they are doing this maliciously, they haven't broken our spirits, us as Lone Star employees. They haven't broken our spirits.
With all of the back and forth and changing narratives, we wanted answers from Mercer and Fulton directly. I sent emails and got a response back from their lawyers saying no comment. A check of public records showed Dr. James Mercer and Dr. Jason Fulton are connected to 21 businesses under the Fulton Mercer Corporation. On July 28th, the company was dissolved because of tax forfeiture. Further digging found several liens filed against both men for properties they own. And just this month, the pair filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the Fulton Mercer Corporation. With no luck getting answers via email, we saw a posting online for a back-to-school event at one of Mercer and Fulton's businesses, Heritage Funeral Home in Lampasas.
Can I help y'all?
We're looking for Dr. Mercer or Dr. Fulton.
He's with the family.
Yeah, we can wait.
It's not here.
This woman says she was here to speak for Mercer. When asked if she was affiliated with Lone Star Social Services, she said no.
We're with Heritage Funeral Home.
Right, and we're here to speak with him about Lone Star Social Services.
We want to talk to y'all about that today.
Okay, we're just going to wait on him whenever he comes out.
He won't be out today to talk to y'all about that.
She wasn't exactly being honest. A January Lone Star newsletter identifies this woman, Jeannie Smith, as part of its community relations department. It didn't take long for Smith to call Lampasas police.
You know your rights.
Absolutely.
Can't make you get off public property. I'm not even going to try. I do know that Dr. Mercer said that he's not going to comment. So I asked him if I could express that to y'all so you would at least know, and he said I can.
That wasn't the only time we heard no comment. Mercer's attorney, Norman Ladd, called sharing the same sentiment.
The answer will always be no comment.
Hi, James. This is Lee Waldman.
I asked what Mercer and Fulton had to say to their employees not getting paid, and Ladd's answer was the same. Our crew waited outside of the funeral home for 3 hours. Still no closer to hearing from Mercer or Fulton about the allegations against them.
Hi, is this Jeannie?
It is.
The changing stories and roadblocks not deterring Lone Star's former employees and their fight for their unpaid wages.
When I fell, I hit the ground pretty hard, but I grabbed rocks when I got back up. And, I'm going to throw those stones as far as I can, and let's see if something hits.
He was metaphorically speaking.
We have to speak up and we have to keep fighting.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Lee Waldman.
While the former employees we spoke to have filed criminal complaints with the Travis County District Attorney's Office for wage theft, Mercer and Fulton have not been charged with any crimes.
We asked DFPS how many foster families were impacted by late payments or payments that never came. They told KSAT Investigates they didn't have to release that information and that sharing it might be part of the Office for Inspector General's investigation. Now, per the OIG's policy, it, quote, cannot confirm or deny the existence of any specific investigation.
Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news, weather, and so much more by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And once again, thanks for watching KSAT.